Oh, Van der Linde's gone off. Van der Linde's just hit the wall at the top of the run to Hohe Acht. Just spun up the back wheels. This is the third place car. He's done damage just after 20 minutes before 9 o'clock. I think he's done the left front suspension. He's got fire in the V10, but he can't get it to move. I think there's too much fouling going on. He's trying to reverse it, but he can't get it to go forwards. It's done. It's done. Van der Linde
he
has put it out.
He moved it backwards. When he tried to move it forwards, it just steers to the left. So I think there's a broken something on the left-hand front, isn't there? Exactly as you said, John.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was such an innocuous hit. He'll try and roll it back down the hill, get as much right-hand lock as he can on. He's a long way from home there at Hohe Acht.
A lot of it is downhill from there, of course, but
if he can't steer, though, it's so dangerous.
Absolutely, and dear, absolute
He's
nightmare.
He's frustrated with himself.
Well, and a nightmare for René Rast, of course, because René Rast has already been in the pit garage while watching one of his cars crash by his teammate, and there's Wolfgang Land as well, willing that somehow Kelvin van der Linde can get that car back. But
the only way he's going to get that back is to reverse it back, because then the camber will straighten that front wheel up, and he might have somewhere to do it, and he's not going to be able to do that. Oh man, it was such an innocuous spin. You just heard the rear wheel spin up, but there's barely a car's width between the curb and the Armco. He's got it back onto the racing surface. Let's have a listen. Oh, magnificent. What was happening, Paul, I think? A bit of break up from Kelvin's car there. I think what was happening there was the wheel was turning and digging in, and that was his issue. He's got it going. He's got it going at a decent clip, and all of a sudden it lands.
René Rast was getting his hands in his helmet on, ready to get in the car, and I thought, well, what's he hoping to do? But they were obviously on the radio, and Kelvin was reporting in, I can get this back, get ready. And of course,
well, he's done very well.
Well, he's not done it yet, but what he has done is to hand a massive gift to the owners of this lounge that we're sitting in, because the 007 Marco Sorensen driven Aston Martin hasn't yet come through past us in third place, but he will be doing fairly shortly, and Marco has hopefully the right tyres for the conditions, and will be coming in, because whatever happens to Kelvin's car when he gets it back, and he's got to come all the way through the Wipperman, down into Brunchen, through Flansgarten, the Steffenberg S, nice. Then all the way down the Dottinger Hohe. So it's going to be a couple of minutes yet. It's going to be 5 minutes yet before Kelvin gets it back, and then he's going to lose.
Steering. He's on the ragged edge here. The left front wheel, I reckon, is wobbling around, probably has a puncture, and maybe, and the left rear as well. So it's the left rear that's the problem rather than the left front that he's hit. And he's got a left puncture on the rear of the car, and that was causing him the problem. It didn't want to push forward. There's damage to the left front as well. I didn't think the left rear had gone in that hard, but he managed to reverse it out, so he has got some form of steering. He's coming down to Schwalbenschwanz now. He's done a cracking job there. But the back end of the car, he's got suspension damage, bottom wishbone probably gone there as well.
Problem is for him, Johnny, it's code 60 all the way in. He daren't go any faster than that.
Morning, Martin.
Good morning, everybody.
Martin Haven.
I was mid-tea brew when I heard you shout, so I've come back out. So the tea is steeping. Details, everyone. That's the magic of radio.
The Trigothnan is
yes.
Never underestimate the restorative effect of a good brew, and Trigothnan, the most British of British teas, as it is grown in Britain, has been doing us proud for the last few years here at the Aston Martin Lounge.
But one of the things that's very fortunate for Kelvin van der Linde is that the level of spray is lower than it has been when it's really been pelting with rain. Because otherwise, we heard in the middle of the night when Marco Sorensen came in to try and describe in layman's terms, and did very well with not using any real Anglo-Saxon, just what it was like when he said, there's a ball of spray, you're coming down Dottingham Hill, there's a ball of spray, and he said suddenly something whizzes past you backwards and you have no idea what it was or where it came from. And he said, and I don't know what would happen if it was in the way when you saw it. Maybe you would have chance to react. But he said, but then you'd be having a huge accident anyway. You know, and that would be this Audi. Somebody would coming back.
The tyres about to come off the rim for Kelvin van der Linde. He's pushing hard.
Somebody would be coming under the bridge there, doing 270, 280, 300 Ks, and he's doing 60. Yeah. Which is why they creep along as close to the edge of the track as they possibly can.
And now he's left a bit of debris on the track. No, it's
rolled off.
Tyre tread has just rolled off. So that's fortunate. So the defending race winners from last year, Linde, coming into the pits with a damaged car, courtesy of a clang on the arm cord. Hohe Acht. Kelvin van der Linde at the wheel of the car when this happened, but he may have redeemed himself by getting this car back. I thought that car was done. I'll put my hand up and say that. But somehow he's got the car back.
But it then leaves their fate in somebody else's hands.
Well, they'd been rolling the dice. They'd gone onto the cut slicks. Maybe it was a lap or two too early. Well, Sorensen in the pits, by the way, after just 3 laps for Sorensen.
And of course, he can afford to come into the pits now because he is on the same lap as the Linde Audi, so they can get themselves onto the right tyre, and then they can get themselves back out, because they'll be able to get themselves back out certainly before the Linde Audi gets back out. And I think Aston is at this stage going to play a very, very safe game and just aim to get their car home to the finish and just see where it finishes now. But there is a podium up there for the begging for the 007 car.
Oh, fire at the back of the Linde car from the debris that was on the tyre, and the whole of the inner liner for the left rear wheel arch is going to be pulled out. They are working on the front as well. They're putting it up on the hijacks. It's going to go into the pit garage, but they can't. Oh, now that was interesting. They couldn't get that car on the dollies properly, and they're just getting it off the pit lane. It's going in forwards.
Just the way that didn't go up on the jacks makes me think there might be something skew with the chassis somewhere, or with the floor. Possibly the floor's just been damaged as Kelvin was going backwards and forwards trying to get it off the barrier in the first place, because it did seem to get itself hooked onto the barrier in some way. There's a cut 6 on the car. We can.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're coming off, and it's going to be extensive work front and rear. Just have a listen. Just have a listen. This is the onboard sound. They didn't play the sound. Just lightly tapping. Did he have a puncture then?
Might have punctured before he actually got there, and that. Not clear, but it's possible that the car actually punctured. I tend to think more he was just pushing on a little bit too hard, and the puncture was the result of hitting the barrier.
Going to welcome Wayne Moore to our broadcast. It's tradition. The Kiwi has arrived.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Is it morning? It's afternoon in some parts of the world.
It's afternoon in your home country, isn't it? How are you doing, Wayne?
Very good, thank you. Nice to see you folks. Nice and dry up here, and slippery as we've just seen on the racetrack.
What's it been like out there?
It's been really challenging. I have had 2 drives, so I was second driver in our car that started